let's take a look at the absolute best endgame ship that you can purchase, and a few minor tweaks that you can make to ensure this is literally unstoppable in all situations. Please note that this ship is very expensive, so if you want something more affordable, go check out my mid-game ship guide from a few days ago. Link to that one below, because you're going to need around 600,000 credits to pull off this full build. We all know that the Stronghold is my absolute favourite ship. However, there is simply no denying the god tier stats of this absolute beast. So, firstly, to purchase this ship, you're going to need to fly to the Volley system and land at Neon in Volley Alpha. Once here, you are going to sprint over to Ryujin Industries headquarters building. Yes, sprint! You are so excited that any other speed simply will not suffice. Get to the lift. Quickly now, keep up, keep up.
Keep up, please, and follow me. Quickly now, come on. Come on.
Now that you're here, you want to take the lift to Tayo Astroneering. Head round the corner and you'll meet Veronica Young. But before speaking to her, one quick tip: make sure you've maxed out commerce, because this ship is damn expensive, so you are gonna want that discount. Now that you've done that, check out the very last ship that they have for sale and go ahead and purchase the Narwhal.
Excellent. You won't
However, just purchasing this ship isn't enough. It's good, but it's no better than the upgraded Stronghold from the previous video. So the next thing we're going to do is fly to one of our outposts, and I'll meet you there and talk you through the next steps to upgrade the Narwhal to the next level. Before we move on, I just wanted to circle back to the Stronghold again for a moment, and let you know that if you did take my advice in the previous video and purchase this ship, you have still made a fantastic decision. The Stronghold is much more accessible mid-game, and the one area in which it really excels versus the Narwhal is the shields. The Stronghold is just so tanky for how much cheaper it is than the Narwhal. And though the Narwhal does have a better hull, so overall when you add the hull and the shields together, they're both very similar, shields are so much more important than hull. And let me just take a moment to talk you through why, then we'll get back to talking about the Narwhal. So if you didn't know, when your shields are up, you cannot take any damage to any of your main systems, i.e. your weapons, your engines, and your grav drive, etc. The one exception to this being electromagnetic weapons, which can disable some of your systems temporarily, but very, very few AI ships use EM weapons, and it's such a rare circumstance that I don't want to start confusing you. So, for the most part, shields are much better than hull, because whilst your shields are up, all of your systems are going to be operating at 100% efficiency. However, as soon as your shields run out and you start taking hull damage, you will notice your systems are getting damaged and going offline very, very quickly. For this reason, the huge shield of the Stronghold is so much more beneficial to you than the huge shield of the Narwhal. Now, of course, you can replace it and you can pretty much eliminate the Narwhal's only weakness, and we'll talk about the shields that I recommend in just a minute. I just wanted to let you know this bit of information so that you know that either of these ships are going to serve you very well throughout your playthrough. And I advise grabbing the Stronghold for the mid-game and then switching up to the Narwhal for the end once you've got the money to not only purchase it, but also be able to make use of all these amazing upgrades once you've got the extra money and, of course, the skill points. Now that you're at one of your outposts, open up the build menu and go into the miscellaneous tab. Here you want to build the landing pad with ship builder. You're obviously going to need a huge area of space to be able to put this down, and it has quite high build requirements as well, with 18 adaptive frames, 30 iron, 2 zero wire, and 2 beryllium. However, you will be so late game at this point. As long as you haven't been selling all of your resources, you should have absolutely plenty. Once you've found an area where you can actually place this down, now you'll be able to run on top of your landing pad and you can interact with the outpost ship builder. From here, you can now purchase a bunch of mid-range generic ships, but more importantly, you can access the view and modify option, and you will be able to customize all your ships with practically every part from every single other star yard combined to save you having to go here, there, and everywhere to upgrade your ship. I'm using the Stronghold as the example here, but we don't care about this ship anymore. This has got nothing on the Narwhal, so let's reload the area, let's get our Narwhal on the landing pad, and move into phase 2 of our master plan. The next thing we want to do is level up our Starship design skill, and to do this you need to fit lots of unique ship modules. Ideally, you want to get Starship design to rank 4 and max it out so that you have access to every single ship part in the game. But you only need to get it to rank 3 for the build that I'm going to be showing you today. And a quick and easy way to do this is literally just go into the customization for any ship that you own that you don't really care about. And you can stick a big chunky module on it, like this fuel tank, and then just start attaching a bunch of random modules to that to help you quickly and easily complete the achievement. Once you've messed around with one of your other ships enough and turned it into some kind of monstrosity, you will have completed the challenge to unlock Starship Design Tier 3. And this is where it gets really fun and we can start to make the Narwhal an absolute machine. And before I forget, just like I almost always do, if you are enjoying the video, please leave a like. It helps out so much more than you know. And if you'd like more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel and turning the notifications on. Thank you so much. With Starship Design Rank 3 unlocked, let me go through the changes I've made to my Narwhal so that you can mimic them. Firstly, attached to the Nova weapon mount right at the front of the ship, I have replaced the 2 weapons there with the KE-42 cannon turrets. These things have got pretty decent range. They have around 130 DPS to the hull and a pretty decent amount of damage to shields as well. Combine that with the fact that they are turrets, they will do all of the heavy lifting for you. Next up, we've got one of my favorites, the PBO 300 Auto Alpha turret. And this time I have placed one at the front and one at the back. And as you'll see, the one at the back is in fact rear facing. This turret is absolutely god tier with nearly 110 DPS, one of the longest ranged weapons in the game. And it's a turret, so again, it will do all of the shooting for you. And having one at the front and one rear facing at the back, it means you are covered from all angles and it will even be able to annihilate targets that are chasing you. And finally, thanks to our new rank of Starship Design, we have been able to equip the Atlatl 280C missile launcher with a combined total of 528 DPS, as we have equipped 2 of them. As you'll see when we get into the combat near the end of this video, it almost one-shots every single ship in the game once you have taken down the shields. With 4,000 range and very high damage in both hull and shields, it will tear through any part of a ship that you want it to. The next upgrade I wanted to show off, and the only weakness of the Narwhal, is the shield. It does come with quite a small shield in comparison to how good the rest of the ship is, so switching out for the Vanguard Bulwark shield generator is amazing, because it makes the shield nearly as powerful as the Stronghold. Ideally, what you would do is you would get your Starship Design up to rank 4 and you'd equip something like the Assurance SG-1800. But for now, the Vanguard is going to be absolutely fine. And finally, if we take a look at the rear of the Narwhal, it does initially come with 2 Nova 1000s and 2 Nova 1020s. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've taken off all of these engines and I have replaced every single one with the Nova 1040. These engines are insanely fast, and I will show you them in action in just a minute. Before we move on, not a change that I made, but I just have to show off the Pinch 8A reactor. I believe this is the most powerful reactor in the game, with 36 power generated. You can bring that up to 41 if you spec into the reactor skill, and you can basically have every single system at full power 100% of the time. And not forgetting the J52 Gamma grav drive, which again I believe is the most powerful grav drive in the game. The Narwhal really is an absolute beast, and with these tweaks and changes, you now have the most powerful ship in the game. So let's talk about a few of the nuances and put it into action. To round out this guide, I wanted to give you a quick rundown of some other fantastic ships that you can add to your fleet. So to kick off my honourable mentions, let's start here at New Atlantis as we admire the Narwhal, and then go and speak to the ship services technician. Let's see what ships he has to offer, and we'll skip all the way to the end and check out the Shield Breaker. This is a very powerful mid-range ship, being a B-class reactor, and a great early to mid-game upgrade once you have the funds, because it's very easy to access, and its base stats are really solid. It can definitely hold its own in most situations, along with the fact it has a really big cargo capacity. The next ship I'm about to show you, however, is just a straight up upgrade from the Shield Breaker, and even more importantly, it's free. However, to acquire this ship, let me open up my quest log and show you my completed faction quests. You will need to have finished the entirety of the Freestar Collective faction questline. Once you have finished the final mission, which from memory is the Hammer Falls, you will then be rewarded with the Star Eagle. As you can see, this has the exact same hull of the Shield Breaker, around twice the amount of shield capacity. Its weapons are arguably better as well, because it's got a very powerful missile launcher and an EM weapon. And on top of that, it's only got an A-class reactor, so you can pilot this right off the bat. There is no need to level up your piloting before you can get in the cockpit of the Star Eagle. And for an A-class reactor, 29 is a very big reactor. Its only drawback is it does have a very small fuel capacity and a very slow grav jump drive. However, both of these are very easily remedied if you wanted to customize it a bit. All in all, this is probably the absolute best out-of-the-box A-class reactor ship you can get. Next up, talking of A-class reactor ships, one that isn't as good, but you can grab far earlier on, is the Razor Leaf from completing the Mantis questline. As you can see here, the Razor Leaf is a pretty good ship. Considering it's an A-class, it's free and it's very easy to acquire. It's a great upgrade from your starting ship, the Frontier. Definitely not as good as people say, and it's not one I would use for long. Definitely try and get yourself something like the Star Eagle or the Shield Breaker, but it will see you through the early game at the very least. And finally, an alternative to the Shield Breaker if you want something a bit more compact, which really packs a punch, then you have got the Aegis from the Deimos Star Yard. Its reactor is significantly smaller, making it hard to manage all of your systems. However, this is an insanely powerful Class B ship, with really good shields and hull, meaning it can give as good as it takes. And the cargo capacity is nothing to be sniffed at either. So that is 4 more starships that you can add to your collection whilst you are saving up the funds for the Stronghold and the Narwhal. Actually, my friends, just one more quick thing before we move into the actual combat. I wanted to show off the inside of this ship because the cockpit is wait, Vasco, are you okay there? Has anyone seen Vasco do this before? Is he asleep? Is he bugged? I am not sure what's going on here. Because you can talk to him. Is this how he naps? Is Vasco, like, powered down right now? Anyway, let's ignore him and head into the cockpit. How insanely professional and swag does this look? I just adore everything about the inside of this ship. It looks so crisp and clean and professional. It just makes you feel like a proper starship captain. Anyway, now we've finished swooning over the ship itself, let's take it into combat and I will give you a few bonus tips. If you've already seen the Stormhold video, then the ending, the actual combat, is probably going to be fairly similar. So I'll start off with the one key difference, and that is the speed. The Narwhal is so fast. When you boost with engines at full capacity, you can get up to 600 miles a second. At least I'm assuming it's in miles. I'm not actually sure what the unit of measurement is, but it's fast. It's really, really fast. So because of this, it means not only do you have the firepower and the defensive capabilities, but you can also easily outmaneuver your opponents. So if you are in a fight and you're getting a little bit overwhelmed, make sure you pump all of your power into your engines and just boost away at lightning speed. This way, as long as you're bobbing and weaving on your way out as well, it will give your hull chance to recharge, and then you can use your thrusters to spin around and get back into the fight fully replenished and ready to annihilate the rest of your enemies. Apart from that, there isn't much more you need to know in regards to the actual combat itself, because 2 of your 3 weapons are fully automated and they can even shoot enemies behind you. So just save your missiles for really big targets that are like level 35 plus, take them out in 2 shots, and then go back to just cruising around, letting your auto turrets take out all the little guys whilst you wait for the missiles to recharge. So with that said, I will let some of this amazing fight play out without me jabbering over the top of it, so you can fully appreciate the capabilities of the Narwhal. And now that we have obliterated everyone, and we've got a combined bounty throughout the UC and the Freestar Collective of around 470,000 credits, it's probably time to wrap up this one and reload our save games. So all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.